Let's do some Goth Glam makeup today. It is yours truly, Krystal Leandra. So there's been something you guys have been tagging me in TikTok a lot, and the trend is using these beautiful lace masks to create a look. Now, when I filmed for Motionless in White, they actually asked us to bring masks on set, so I purchased quite a few, and I never used them. I ended up not using a mask, but I think this one feels perfect. But as I was looking at this, trend of using the lace to create an image on your eyes, I was like, let's take this a step further, because this is already very goth, right? Like, it's a trend, let's make it goth. What if we took this idea and turned it into Halloween goth makeup? And when I'm talking Halloween, I'm talking straight up Halloween whimsical wedding makeup. Now, I know that this tutorial is not going to be for everybody. Oftentimes when I post tutorials about goth wedding makeup, I'll get a bunch of people on the feed that are like, oh my god, that's too much for a wedding. Like, okay, then that's not for you. Like, if you understood the goth culture and you understood especially how us girls wear a F ton of makeup as goths, you would understand that we appreciate the image is much different in how we do things. And to me, a Halloween wedding is an actual dream. So this is not out of the question unordinary. So this is not for people who are simplistic. This is not for people that don't have a fun personality. It's not for the faint of heart. You have to really love orange and black. You could change the theme of the colors, so keep that in mind as I'm filming this. And honestly, you could realistically use this as Renaissance makeup. Like, it could be so much more. You can alter this in any direction, but I want to make this as a Halloween themed makeup. So let's do it and let's get going. I am starting out with the P. Louise eyeshadow base in 0 because I wanted it to be very white and matte. So I put this all over the lid. You need something really tacky for this shadow to stick to. In fact, I ended up adding it pretty much all over, like the forehead, around the eyebrows and everything, just to make sure that when I started the base, it was gonna stick. So bases are so important. I did end up using this BH, it's like a scorpion palette, I think BH Cosmetics. I loved this really bright orange and some of the shimmers in it. I thought it was just too perfect. So I ended up mixing a couple of the oranges to start this look. This is definitely a trust the process kind of process. You really have to have faith in what you're doing and an image, because if you look at this right now, you're gonna think I'm crazy. You're gonna be like, this does not look good. It looks patchy, what's going on? But remember, this is the undersided layer. So really, when you're doing makeup looks like this, you have to think of it in layers. What is your base layer? Since I was going to be using black for the actual lace on the mask, I knew I needed a different shadow underneath to be peeking through. And since the theme was Halloween, orange and black, of course it was going to be an orange base. It just took some time to really finesse what I wanted it to look like. Obviously, this is the first time I've done this, so I wasn't even sure. I decided, you know what, let's add some shimmer on top of this orange to make it sort of look iridescent when the black lace is on top. So I started adding random shimmers. I started deepening and darkening it in certain areas with other shades of orange. I just wanted it to look, sort of multi-dimensional. I wasn't really sure how it was going to come out. I'm really glad I did the orange. I'd love to do other colors. I know some of you guys on TikTok want me to do like an a blue combo or a purple combo or even a red combo. I absolutely think we should try that for sure. But since this was the first time doing it, I don't think I did too bad. And I wanted to film a big tutorial for you guys because I knew some of you were going to want to do this for Halloween looks. I know a lot of you go to the goth vampire balls in Salem and in Louisiana, and a lot of you I knew were going to love this. Okay, I actually used a Jeffree Star highlighter, the Supreme highlighter for this part. I just wanted it to glisten. I wanted it to glisten because I wanted it to really peek through that underneath part of the black. Once again, I didn't know how this was going to end up turning up. This part took probably about a half an hour to really finesse, which is why I am fast forwarding through it. It would be too boring for you to sit through it entirely. I ended up deepening the eye area, like, you know how I usually wear really dark around the eyelids. Once again, I just wasn't sure how it was going to come out. So I wanted to make sure it looked multi-dimensional. I didn't want it to look flat, especially for a Halloween look. I was really uncertain how this was going to come out. So I'm just really layering on different shades, different areas, kind of contouring a little bit. This is me filming for TikTok, so ignore that. Me contouring my eyes a little bit to see where the mask would lay. So I chose the symmetrical mask. So here is the key with the mask part. You have to tie it tight. And I know it sounds crazy, it's gonna feel weird, but like it cannot budge, because if it smudges, especially with that black, you're gonna be in trouble. And if one part of the look is messed up, the whole thing is gonna be messed up. So make sure it is tight and make sure it is snug. Now I ended up I went with the Glam Light Black Shadow, and I did that because it's one of the black shadows that I own. First of all, it's very pigmented with Glam Light. Second of all, it does not have a lot of fallout. I was very concerned with fallout because, once again, you can't really fix it. Once it's on there, it's on there. So I'm really pushing that pigment in, but also making sure that I don't have a ton of pigment on the brush, so we're preventing a disaster of fallout happening on my face, because you can't fix it once it's on there. So I was being very meticulous. See, I was really kind of worried how that upper corner was bouncing around a little bit. So I was also worried that the ribbon on the mask would get kind of loose and end up pulling, and it might look wonky. So I was just working really fast to make sure I got this done as quickly as possible, because I just didn't want the mask to fall. I was really scared it was going to get, kind of blurred out. Now I end up holding part of the mask down just to ensure that I'm really getting inside of the pieces of lace that aren't stuck to my head. But once again, just really making sure that mask is secure is your number one thing. Taking it off made me very stressed, because see how I kind of lift it forward and then back? That's your key to how you do it. Because if you smear it or smudge it, especially with black shadow, you are in so much trouble. So once I got this mask off, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like it. I'm not saying I hated it, I'm just saying that it needed more. And you guys know how I am with my looks. So I knew I had to do something. I wasn't sure what. So I first started going in with some eyeliner. I thought, maybe if I add some different eyeliner, a little bit of graphic eyeliner, this is gonna make it look a little bit better. I wasn't sure if I needed glitter or rhinestones or if lashes would help. So I just started building. I started building it. I also am really used to wearing dark colors. I'm also not used to wearing warm tones as a goth. You guys know, you can relate. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm not liking the orange. Maybe the orange is too sunny. Maybe it's too warm on my skin. What am I gonna do? So I just started thinking. I was like, what am I gonna do? Building up even more liner. I thought, let's go dramatic with the liner. Maybe if I get, more darkened around the eyes, that will make me like this look a little bit better. And this is when I finally decide, you know what, I'm gonna pull out my neon pigments. These are linked in my Amazon store. These are glow-in-the-dark UV pigments. Let's see if I add more orange, and once again, more dimensions of the orange, maybe it'll look better. Now, here's what I did. I took the black light in between when I was creating this look, because I wanted to make sure A, it was even, and B, it looked right. So I ended up having this part alone took about an hour, adding the UV parts, because I wanted it to look right. You know, with the mask, I sort of basically outlined the areas of the mask. Some people were like saying, you look like a tiger, you know, you look like a butterfly. Like, I wasn't really trying to look like a tiger or stripe it. I was literally outlining the mask. Then I started adding dots and different graphic tones and stuff like that. I also added rhinestones, but I feel like the look was so overwhelming you couldn't see the rhinestones. But this is, once again, doing another check, so just back and forth constantly. At this point, I'm like, okay, I'm happy with this look. I like the way this looks. Took a lot of patience, took about 2 hours to complete, but I loved it. Someone said it looked like a monarch butterfly. I loved that opinion. Okay, now we're about to go to the final cut, which is, this is how it came out. I loved it. I thought it was so pretty. I mean, it's very like whimsical goth, very Halloween goth, very much Sally and Jack. And then of course I have to do it with the UV light on. But make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment on my video, support me. Thank you so much for following me here. Let me know what color we should do next. Love you guys.